In this video, we're going to learn all about Harvard Yard on the Harvard campus in Harvard Square in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Stay tuned. So Harvard Yard is the oldest part of the Harvard campus, and it's its historic center and modern crossroads. I think when people think of Harvard, many people picture in their mind's eye Harvard Yard. And Harvard Yard is just really a special place. If you're in Harvard Square and on Massachusetts Avenue and cars are passing and there's the hustle and bustle of pedestrian street life and restaurants, shops, and services and people coming and going, when you step into Harvard Yard, there's a hushed silence and a real magical sense of time stopping. It's just extraordinary. And no matter how many times you enter into Harvard Yard, you experience it each and every time. It's just a special place. Now, the yard is divided into two parts. The principal section, if you will, is the old yard. Access is via the JOHNSTON gate facing on Harvard Square. And the yard itself is 22 plus acres in size, surrounded by perimeter fencing, most of which is iron railing fencing. And there are 27 gates that give access to Harvard Yard. As mentioned, Johnston Gate is the principal gate, and it faces onto Peabody Street, which is actually a small portion of street that otherwise becomes Massachusetts Avenue in either direction. It's interesting, they renamed the street in front of Johnston Gate. But so the streets that define Harvard Yard are Massachusetts Avenue, Cambridge Street and Broadway, and then Quincy Street on the far side. So upon entering at Johnston Gate, if you will, the front entrance to the yard, to the old yard, immediately on your right is Massachusetts Hall. This is the oldest existing building on campus. It dates from 1720, and it houses on the first floor the office of the president of Harvard. As it happens, on the floors above this office are freshman dorms, which is really rather unique for it to be both the office of the president and freshman dorms. And the old yard in its entirety is comprised of brick buildings that serve as freshman dormitories. And among them is Thayer Hall, which dates from 1870. And I actually lived in Thayer Hall as a freshman at Harvard way back when in 1985. And I'll never forget that in late September 1985, soon after I moved in, Hurricane Gloria blew through, and it was something to behold. I had a front row seat in my dormitory on the first floor of Thayer South, looking out on the trees and the wind blowing, and quite a few branches came down. Fortunately, no significant damage was done, but it was an amazing sight to see the wind blow through at that time. And it was also in this era that when I was a freshman at Harvard, Facebook was a print publication called The Facebook, and it came to your door as a Harvard freshman, and it featured a picture of each and every one of your classmates and their name. And so that was actually the origin of what became Facebook in due course, which we have online today. So interesting bit of history. Also found in the old yard is University Hall. It's the one building that's not a dorm. And sitting in front of University Hall, which is for administrative offices, is the statue of John Harvard. And the statue is, I think, the third most visited statue in the United States. It's a bronze statue by Daniel Chester French. It dates from 1884, and it's famous for its three lies. As the inscription reads, John Harvard, founder, 1638. So the three lies are that Harvard actually dates to 1636, not 1638, that John Harvard was not the founder, but rather a primary benefactor in the early days of Harvard. And last but not least, the sculpture is not based on an image of John Harvard. In fact, French, the sculptor, could not find any images of John Harvard, and therefore employed a Harvard student as a model for the statue. Visitors will rub the left shoe of the statue for good luck, and so that is a polished bronze foot. If you go and visit the statue, you'll see. So it becomes the sort of central draw for visitors to the old yard. The old yard is crisscrossed with paths, and there's places to sit. It's just a very inviting space. It's very well maintained by Harvard, and it's just so special in every season. Now, immediately adjacent to the old yard is the other primary portion of Harvard Yard, Tercentenary Theater. And this section includes Widener Library, which houses some 3.5 million books and is distinguished by its pillared front facade. And then opposite Widener, on the other end of the theater, is Memorial Church. And the steps of Memorial Church each year become the dais or stage for commencement exercises, which are held here. And then along one side is Seaver Hall, a larger classroom building, and next to it, Emerson. And then completing this portion of the yard on the opposite side from Seaver and Emerson is the backside of University Hall. It's just as special to walk through this portion of the yard. It's a bit more active with student life because of the classroom buildings. And, the Widener Library is, the cornerstone of the Harvard library system. And immediately adjacent to Widener to one side is the Houghton Library, where rare books and manuscripts are housed. And next to that, Lamont Library, which is a sort of regular library that gets a lot of use by undergraduates, and where, as a Harvard student, I spent a good deal of time. So Harvard Yard, wow. It's the heart of the campus. It's quintessentially Harvard, and not to be missed if you're in Harvard Square. Can't say enough good things about it, and it's just so special as a place in thinking about, university life in the United States. It's certainly among the most, if not the most special place to behold. And it's just fantastic. Now, on the opposite side from Harvard Yard along Quincy Street is the Harvard Art Museums and the Carpenter Center, home to the Harvard Film Archive. So there is these additional Harvard buildings, or there are these additional Harvard buildings just overlooking Harvard Yard. So be sure to step into Harvard Yard from Harvard Square and experience the magic. My name is Charles Cherney, and I'm a top residential real estate agent in Cambridge. My office is very close to Harvard Yard. I'm at 1100 Massachusetts Avenue on the first floor as part of the Compass office. And you can visit with me there if you're visiting Harvard Yard. I welcome the opportunity to connect with you, to be of service as you give thought to buying the right home or selling for the best price in Cambridge or neighboring Somerville. Reach out at any time by text, telephone, or email. Take care now.